Captain Han stood motionless on the bridge of the Mnemosyne, her eyes fixed on the yellow star growing larger on the viewscreen. After thousands of years, humanity had returned to the Sol system. The star that once warmed Earth now illuminated the sleek hulls of their advanced vessels as they emerged from fold space. "All ships have successfully transitioned, Captain," said Officer Kim, his voice quiet with reverence. "The fleet awaits your orders." Han nodded, her face revealing nothing of the storm of emotions inside her. For generations, her ancestors had lived with one purpose: to return and reclaim their stolen home. The homecoming protocol, passed down through centuries of exile, had finally begun. "Status of our stealth systems?" she asked. "Operating at full capacity. The Concordat has no idea we're here." The bridge crew worked in focused silence. They were the descendants of the few thousand humans who had escaped when the Concordat destroyed Earth in a surprise attack. The aliens had deemed humanity a future threat to their dominance and attempted to eliminate them completely. They had failed. "Begin passive scans of the system," Han ordered. "I want to know exactly what they've done to our home." The holographic display in the center of the bridge flickered to life, showing the current state of the solar system. Mars glowed with industrial activity. The asteroid belt had been partially dismantled. And Earth, or what remained of it, showed signs of extensive mining operations. "They're stripping our home world for resources," said Officer Lee, disgust evident in his voice. His ancestors had preserved the genetic database of Earth's biodiversity, hoping one day to restore what was lost. As expected, Han replied. She walked closer to the hologram, studying the patterns of Concordat activity. "Their arrogance is unchanged. They believe no one could challenge them here." The humans aboard Mnemosyne had evolved during their long exile. Enhanced strength, improved cognition, and heightened senses had developed both naturally and through technological integration. The fleet they commanded incorporated technologies the Concordat could not imagine. Han turned to face her crew. "Our ancestors watched their home burn. They fled across the stars, refugees begging for shelter. They endured humiliation and hardship, all while keeping our heritage alive." Her voice grew stronger. "They believed that one day we would return. That day has come." Officer Park, the tactical specialist, approached with a data pad. "Captain, we've detected a Concordat communication hub on Phobos. If we can access it, we could gain valuable intelligence on their current capabilities and political structure." Han studied the information. "Prepare a special operations team. I want that hub captured intact." As preparations began, Han retreated to her private quarters. She activated a small projector that displayed an image of Earth as it once was. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. The image had been passed down through her family line, a reminder of what they had lost. Next to it appeared an image of Earth now, a damaged, mined world bearing little resemblance to its former beauty. A soft chime announced the arrival of Dr. Yoon, one of the fleet's oldest members. His face carried the wisdom of his 180 years. "Are you certain we're ready for this?" he asked without preamble. Han gestured to the images. "Look at what they did to our home." "Revenge is a powerful motivation," Yoon said carefully. "But is it enough to sustain us through what's to come?" "This isn't just about revenge," Han replied. "It's about justice. It's about reclaiming what's ours." Yoon nodded slowly. "The Concordat is not what it once was. Our intelligence suggests they've grown divided, complacent. But they still outnumber us." "Numbers aren't everything," Han said. "Our technology, our unity, our purpose. These give us advantages they cannot match." A message from Officer Kim interrupted them. "Captain, preliminary scans complete. We've detected something unexpected." Returning to the bridge, Han examined the new data. "Explain this anomaly." "It appears to be a non-Concordat settlement on Europa," Kim said. "The energy signature doesn't match known Concordat technology." "Another species?" Han asked. "Possibly survivors," suggested Officer Lee. "Or allies the Concordat brought in after." Han completed the thought, after they thought they'd eliminated us. She made her decision quickly. Maintain our position at the edge of the system. Continue surveillance. I want complete information before we reveal ourselves. The crew resumed their tasks with renewed purpose. Outside the viewports, the distant sun illuminated their ships at powerful, advanced vessels built by a species that had transformed their near extinction into the forge of their rebirth. Captain Han looked back at the image of Earth one more time. Soon, she whispered. We have returned, and everything will change. Commander Take of the Concordat mining operation stared at the unusual readings on his monitor with growing irritation. The flashing red indicators had appeared 3 times in the past day, suggesting an anomaly near the Martian perimeter. Another malfunction, he asked his subordinate. The sensors have been recalibrated twice, sir, responded the technician. The readings persist. Take waved his hand dismissively. Dust storms or sensor ghosts. This equipment has been failing for decades. He returned his attention to the production quota reports. The Concordat leadership demanded ever-increasing extraction of rare minerals from the remains of the human homeworld and its satellite planets. The Sovereign Council won't accept equipment failures as an excuse for missed quotas, Take reminded his staff. Double the extraction efforts in Sector 4. Far from the mining headquarters, Lieutenant Park led his Special Forces team across the dusty Martian surface. 6 humans moved with practiced precision, their exosuits adapting to match the reddish landscape around them. They were nearly invisible to standard Concordat detection systems. 2 kilometers to the communication hub, Park whispered through the tactical channel. Remember your training. We need their systems intact. Officer Min checked her advanced scanning device. 5 guards at the perimeter. Standard rotation pattern. Predictable, Park commented. They've grown complacent after millennia without resistance. The team moved forward in perfect coordination. Their suits enhanced their natural strength and speed, allowing them to cover ground rapidly despite the lower Martian gravity. Years of drills in similar environments had prepared them for this moment. Captain Han wants the communication codes and system architecture, Park reminded them. Minimal casualties. We're not here for revenge, not yet. At the communication hub, a Concordat guard named Rax leaned against the entrance, bored with his assignment. The mining colony was the least desirable posting in the system, but he had angered a superior officer and was suffering the consequences. He failed to notice the slight shimmer of movement approaching the perimeter. The hub itself was a modest structure, its importance belied by its unimpressive appearance. Inside, it contained direct links to the Concordat's system-wide communication network, a treasure trove of intelligence for the recently arrived humans. Park signaled his team to deploy stun devices. Small discs slid across the ground, stopping precisely at calculated positions around the perimeter. When activated, they would temporarily disable Concordat neural systems without causing permanent damage. 3, 2, 1. Execute, Park ordered. The discs activated simultaneously. The guards collapsed without raising an alarm. Park's team moved swiftly into the hub, securing each section with practiced efficiency. Begin data extraction, Park ordered Officer Min, who connected their advanced technology to the Concordat systems. Their security is primitive by our standards, Min observed as she bypassed the protections. They haven't significantly advanced their encryption in centuries. As the team worked, an unexpected alert sounded from Officer Jin's scanner. Movement approaching from the east, Jin reported. Not Concordat signatures. Park moved to a position where he could observe the approach. Through his enhanced vision, he spotted 3 figures moving cautiously toward the hub. Their physical features were distinctly non-Concordat. Another species, Park realized. Prepare for possible contact. The strangers approached the unconscious guards with evident surprise. They carried tools rather than weapons and wore simple environmental suits designed for work rather than combat. Park made a decision. He stepped out where they could see him, his weapon lowered but accessible. The 3 figures froze in shock. The tallest among them, clearly a leader, cautiously raised empty hands to signal peaceful intentions. "I am June of the Novali," he said in halting Concordat trade language. "We mean no harm." Park's translator processed the words. The Novali. Park recognized the name from historical records. Once proud allies of the Concordat, now reduced to servitude based on intelligence gathered during humanity's exile. "I am Lieutenant Park," he responded simply. "Human." June's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. "Humans were eradicated generations ago." "We survived," Park stated. "And we have returned." Inside the hub, Min completed the data extraction. "Lieutenant, I have everything we need," she reported. "But I've found something unexpected. The Concordat has fractured into competing factions. Their coalition is unstable." Park nodded, processing this valuable information while maintaining eye contact with June. "The Concordat took our world too," June said quietly. "Many Novali would welcome their downfall." "Then perhaps we have common interests," Park suggested. A warning signal from Officer Jean interrupted their conversation. "Concordat patrol approaching. 2 minutes until they discover the guards." Park made another quick decision. "June, come with us if you wish to learn more. Otherwise, leave now and pretend you saw nothing." June hesitated only briefly before responding, "I will come. My people have waited too long for change." As Park's team prepared to withdraw with their valuable intelligence and unexpected ally, the first communication burst was already being transmitted to the Mnemosyne. First contact had been established, and the balance of power in the Sol system had begun to shift. The transmission reached every Concordat outpost simultaneously. Screens flickered, communications interrupted, and a single face appeared, Captain Han standing on the bridge of the Mnemosyne. "This is Captain Han of the Human Expeditionary Fleet," she announced, her voice calm but powerful. "We have returned to reclaim what was ours." In the central Concordat command center orbiting what remained of Earth, alarms blared as officers rushed to stations. The supposed extinction of humanity was the foundation upon which their dominance of the Sol system had been built. Now that foundation was crumbling before their eyes. "Impossible," shouted Commander Beck, slamming his fist against the control panel. "Our ancestors destroyed them completely." Only Elder Sung remained calm, his ancient eyes studying the human broadcast with interest rather than fear. He had lived 3 Concordat lifetimes and had access to records few others had seen. "Our ancestors foresaw this day," he told the panicking council members. "They knew destroying Earth would not end humanity, only transform it." Lieutenant Park stood beside Captain Han as she delivered the message that would change the system forever. The data they had recovered from the communication hub had proven invaluable. The Concordat had indeed fractured into competing factions over the millennia, their unity weakened by complacency and internal power struggles. "Broadcast complete," Officer Kim reported. "We're receiving responses from 17 different Concordat outposts. Most are demands for identification verification or threats." Han nodded. "And the archaeologists? Have they completed their work?" "Yes, Captain. They're ready to present their findings." In a secure conference room aboard the Mnemosyne, Dr. Moon carefully arranged ancient tablets and data crystals recovered from abandoned Concordat outposts during humanity's exile. For centuries, human scholars had collected fragments of information about why the Concordat had attacked Earth. "The evidence is conclusive," Dr. Moon explained to the assembled leadership. "The original attack on Earth was based on a misinterpreted prophecy." He displayed the oldest tablet, its surface etched with symbols in the ancient Concordat language. "This speaks of a world of water and life that would give birth to those who would break the chains of stars." The Concordat leaders interpreted this as a warning about humanity threatening their dominance. "But that wasn't the true meaning?" asked Officer Lee. "No," replied Dr. Moon. "The complete prophecy, which we've now reconstructed, actually foretold that humans would break the chains of limitation, become a force for freedom throughout the galaxy. The Concordat elders feared this would undermine their control, so they twisted the prophecy to justify our destruction. Meanwhile, on the neutral station where diplomacy was attempted, Han faced the Concordat representatives directly. Elder Sung had arranged the meeting despite objections from hardliners in his government. "You destroyed our world," Han stated without preamble. "Billions died. A regrettable necessity, according to our ancestors," replied Elder Sung. "They believed your species would bring chaos to the ordered galaxy." "And now?" Han asked. "Do you still believe that justifies genocide?" Before Elder Sung could answer, the door slid open and June the Novali entered with Lieutenant Park. The Concordat representatives reacted with shock at seeing the species together. "The humans have shown me the truth," June announced. "My people were told we were lifted from primitive conditions by the Concordat's generosity. In reality, our world was taken just as Earth was, through deception and force." Elder Sung's expression grew troubled. "Much history has been simplified for subsequent generations." Han leaned forward. "We do not seek the extinction of your people. But Earth belongs to humanity, and we have come to take it back." "Impossible," sputtered a younger Concordat official. "We have settlements, operations." "You have 3 standard months to evacuate your forces from Earth and its moon," Han interrupted. "Other arrangements can be negotiated for the rest of the system." As tensions in the meeting room rose, aboard the Mnemosyne, Dr. Moon made another discovery. Among the ancient records was evidence that some Concordat leaders had opposed the attack on Earth. They had argued that the prophecy was being misinterpreted, that humanity might be an ally rather than a threat. "Those voices were silenced," Dr. Moon told Officer Lee. "The hardliners executed them as traitors and proceeded with the attack." The diplomatic meeting ended with no resolution, but as Elder Sung prepared to depart, he approached Han privately. "There are those among us who believe the attack on your world was our greatest shame," he admitted quietly. "Not all Concordat will resist your return." Han studied the ancient alien's face. "Then help us avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Convince your people that humanity does not seek vengeance, only justice and our rightful home." "Some will listen," Elder Sung replied. "Others are already preparing for war." As Elder Sung's shuttle departed, Han received an urgent message from the fleet. Hardline Concordat forces were mobilizing throughout the system. "So it begins," she said softly. "Not with understanding, but with battle." The hardline Concordat faction struck without warning. Their warships surged forward from hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt, weapons charging as they approached the human fleet. "Multiple incoming vessels," Officer Kim reported calmly. "They've bypassed diplomatic channels completely." Captain Han's expression remained composed as she assessed the tactical display. The human ships were outnumbered 3-1, but numbers alone wouldn't determine the outcome of this battle. "Deploy defense grid. Bring weapons systems online," she ordered. "But hold fire until my command." The space around the asteroid belt erupted into brilliant light as the first Concordat vessels opened fire. Energy beams lanced toward the human ships, only to disperse harmlessly against advanced shield technology that had been developed during humanity's long exile. "Their weapons are ineffective against our defenses," Kim noted with quiet satisfaction. "They're using technology that hasn't evolved significantly in millennia," Han replied. "Complacency has cost them dearly." Han opened a channel to all human vessels. "This is Captain Han. Remember our objective: we did not come here to destroy, but to reclaim. Target weapons and propulsion systems only. Minimize casualties." On the lunar surface, Lieutenant Park led ground forces across the cratered terrain. Their mission was to secure strategic positions that would give humanity control over Earth's closest natural satellite. Advanced exosuits allowed them to move with incredible speed and precision in the low gravity. "Squad 2, advance to Sector 7, Park ordered through his tactical communications. "Squad 3, secure the Concordat communications array." The human forces moved like shadows across the lunar landscape. Years of training in similar environments made them nearly invisible until they were already upon the surprised Concordat defenders. Park's team approached the main Concordat lunar facility, a sprawling complex built into the wall of a massive crater. Rather than using destructive weapons, they deployed specialized technology designed to temporarily disable Concordat systems without causing permanent damage. "Remember your training," Park reminded his squad. "We disable, not destroy. We are not becoming what they once were to us." In orbit above Mars, the Concordat flagship Dominion led a formation of heavy warships toward the human fleet. Commander June, a hardline military leader, watched with growing frustration as his initial attacks failed to penetrate the human defenses. "Impossible," he growled. "Their technology can't be this advanced. Increase power to forward batteries." His second-in-command hesitated. "Sir, Elder Sung has issued orders to cease hostilities and engage in diplomatic." "Elder Sung is a fool," June interrupted. "These humans should have died millennia ago. I will not negotiate with ghosts." Aboard the Mnemosyne, Han watched the tactical display as Concordat forces converged from multiple directions. She had anticipated this response. The hardliners would never accept humanity's return without a fight. "They're splitting their fleet," Officer Lee observed. "Attempting to surround us." "Exactly as expected," Han replied. "Execute Maneuver Sigma." The human vessels moved with perfect coordination, their engines flaring as they executed a complex defensive pattern that no Concordat computer could predict. As they moved, specialized systems activated, targeting the weapons and propulsion systems of the approaching enemy vessels. "Selective disabling beams active," reported Officer Kim. "Target locked on Concordat weapon systems." Han nodded. "Fire." Pulses of focused energy struck the Concordat ships with surgical precision. Weapon arrays went dark. Propulsion systems failed. One by one, the attacking vessels found themselves adrift, disabled but not destroyed. On the Dominion, Commander June watched in horror as his fleet became helpless. "What is happening?" he demanded. "How are they disabling our systems without destroying the ships?" "Unknown technology, sir," his weapons officer replied. "They could destroy us completely if they wished." This realization struck June like a physical blow. The humans had the power to annihilate them but were choosing not to. After what the Concordat had done to Earth, the humans were showing restraint. On the lunar surface, Park's team had secured their objectives with minimal casualties. The Concordat defenders had surrendered when they realized they faced a technologically superior force that wasn't intent on slaughter. "Main facility secure," Park reported to Captain Han. "Lunar Command Hub is under our control." Han acknowledged the report as she monitored another developing situation. The tactical display showed Concordat vessels firing on each other as moderate factions turned against hardliners, creating a civil conflict within their own ranks. "They're fighting amongst themselves," Officer Lee observed. "The revelation of their historic lie has fractured them completely," Han replied. "Some seek to atone, others to deny." As the battle continued across the solar system, Han made a critical decision. She opened a broad-spectrum channel that would reach every vessel and outpost. "This is Captain Han of humanity. We have demonstrated our capability and our restraint. We could destroy you completely, but that is not our purpose. We seek only to reclaim our home and establish peace. Lower your weapons, and we can end this conflict now." In the silence that followed her transmission, humanity's position in the solar system shifted from returning exiles to architects of a new future. The old truck rumbled down the dusty highway, carrying Mark back to the small town he had left years ago. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, memories flooding his mind like waves crashing against a rocky shore. The landscape outside looked familiar yet strange, the same rolling fields, the same distant hills, but something felt different. As he drove, Mark remembered why he had left. The arguments with his father, the small-town gossip, the feeling of being trapped, all those things had pushed him away. He had been young and angry, wanting to prove something to everyone. Now, 10 years later, he was coming home because of a phone call he never expected to receive. His mother was sick. Not just a simple cold or flu, but seriously ill. The doctors had told her she didn't have much time left. When his sister Sarah called, her voice broke with emotion. Mark knew he had to return. The town looked almost the same. The old diner still stood on the corner, the grocery store hadn't changed, and the local gas station still had the same faded sign. People would recognize him, but he wasn't sure they would welcome him. He had burned many bridges when he left. Pulling up to his parents' small white house, Mark took a deep breath. The garden looked different, less maintained, with wildflowers growing where his mother used to have neat rows of vegetables. He could see curtains moving inside, someone watching his arrival. Sarah came out first. She looked older, more tired than he remembered. Her hair was pulled back, and she wore simple clothes that spoke of long days of caring for their mother. When she saw Mark, tears filled her eyes. "You came," she said simply, walking towards him. Mark hugged her, feeling awkward and emotional. They had never been particularly close, even before he left. His decision to leave had created a distance between them that seemed impossible to bridge. Inside the house, everything felt smaller. The furniture looked older, with worn edges and faded colors. And there, in the bedroom, was his mother. She looked so tiny in the big bed, her skin pale and thin like paper. His father sat in a chair beside her, looking older and more tired than Mark had ever seen him. When their eyes met, there was a moment of tension, years of unspoken words hanging between them. "I'm sorry I didn't come back sooner," Mark said to his mother, taking her frail hand. She smiled weakly, squeezing his fingers. "You're here now," she whispered. The next few days were a blur of hospital visits, quiet conversations, and shared meals. Mark helped around the house, fixing things that had been broken for years. His father watched him, sometimes offering a quiet suggestion, sometimes just silently observing. Slowly, something started to change. The anger that had driven Mark away seemed to melt, replaced by understanding. He realized his father had always loved him, even if he didn't know how to show it. His mother's illness had brought them together in a way nothing else could. One evening, sitting on the porch, his father spoke about the farm, about hard times and good times. Mark listened, really listened, for the first time in years. They talked about crops, about challenges, about life. It wasn't a dramatic conversation, but it was real. When his mother passed away a week later, the family was together. They grieved, they remembered, they supported each other. Mark decided to stay and help his father with the farm, at least for a while. The town that once felt like a prison now felt like home. People in town started treating him differently. They saw a changed man, someone who had returned not to prove something, but to reconnect. The old gossip slowly transformed into quiet respect. As autumn approached, Mark found himself feeling more settled than he had in years. The vast fields, the quiet mornings, the familiar rhythms of farm life, they were healing something inside him he didn't know was broken. His homecoming wasn't perfect. There were still uncomfortable moments, still memories of past conflicts. But it was a beginning. A chance to rebuild, to understand, to forgive. And sometimes, that's all anyone can hope for.